Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today we're heading over to Pavilion Gardens over in Buxton. It's a lovely little spot and I haven't been there for years. I've been invited by H&H Classic Auctions to go and have a wander around the cars featured in tomorrow's auction. I'm really excited about this. I can't think of a better way to spend the afternoon. They've got a real mixture of classics, modern classics and performance cars, so there really is something for everybody. So I thought I'd bring you guys along to keep me company. I apologise in advance, but I know I'm destined to spend the next few hours saying, oh look at that, oh my dad had one of those, oh my neighbour had one of those, so sorry about that. Just thought I'd warn you. I also know that I'm going to be seriously tempted to bid on some of these cars myself. I'm just praying there isn't an E38 BMW there or a P38 Range Rover. This will take some serious discipline on my part. If you'd like to have a look at the lots for yourself or register to bid, then check out the website. It's hnh.co.uk or pop along tomorrow. In addition to that, you can bid by telephone, so I'll leave the details below in the video description. Right, let's go and have a look, shall we? See you there. And here we are. It's a beautiful setting this, and the cars are coming in thick and fast, so we're going to have a tour, shall we? Follow me. Well, we may as well start here then. We've got a DB7, 1997 DB7. I did a video with one of those. We had one in stock, a V12 convertible. I could be wrong, but I think that might be the supercharged 6-cylinder. Did a 6-cylinder and a V12, and there are no badges to say V12, so I'm guessing it's the 6. Then over there behind you, we've got its cousin, the Jaguar XKR. So it's built on the same platform as the DB7, but this one's got a 4-litre, or 4.2 is it, supercharged V8. It's only done 28,000 miles. But it's a Japanese import, so there shouldn't be any rust on it. I'm not sure which one I'd have, the DB7 or the XK. You'd probably go with the Aston, wouldn't you, just for the badge. Over here we've got a 1969 MGB Roadster. That's got an estimate of between 12 and 14 grand, so it's not an awful lot of money, is it, for something of that vintage? This sort of stuff's before my time really, so I don't know an awful lot about it. That's more my era. It's an SL55, just like the one I've got, but I've never seen one in this colour before. And the interior on this one is matching. Smells just like mine actually. So that uses a 5.4 litre supercharged V8 with 470 odd horsepower. I'll be intrigued to see how much that one makes because it's only done 48,000 miles and it's got an estimate of between 20 and 24 grand. So I'll keep my eye on that because I haven't got a clue what mine's worth. But yeah, I've never seen one in that colour. We've got another MGB Roadster there, 1966. This one's finished in like an old English white colour. I think though, to be honest, I prefer the red. And behind you we've got another DB7. This has got an estimate of between 15 and 17 grand. It's an awful lot of car for the money, isn't it, that? Then over here, these, if I had the money in the space, I'd buy something like this because I think in the very near future they'll start to go up in value. For 5 or 10 years now, they've sort of languished in the classifieds, and now I think they're on the up. This one's a 2.2, so it's a 6-cylinder. It's all the engine you'd need, really, for something like this, anyway. Granted, the yellow colour is a bit divisive. It isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I quite like it. That's more my era, to be honest. Over there, we've got another MGB Roadster, and another MGB Roadster. Oh no. MGC Roadster, that, 1968. I'll be honest, I can't tell the difference. Like I say, it's not really my era. And here we've got a TR4. It kind of looks like an American car, this, with the fins on the back. It's very late 50s, 60s American. Perhaps, I don't know this, you might be able to tell me. That might have been done on purpose to try and break into the American market. Over here we've got 1986 Lotus XL. which kind of looks a bit like the Europa. It's got that same sort of design going on the back. Then over here we've got a Daimler Dart. Now I've never seen one of these in person. This, I'm told, was built to kind of break into the American market, and they had to stop using the name Dart because of the Dodge Dart with some trademark issues. So it quickly became known as the SP250. But you can see what they were trying to do there with that. It's quite a pretty car. And I think under the bonnet, I think there's a V8. I think it's a 2.5 litre V8. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was one of the first fiberglass cars made in the UK. And again, it's got the fins on the back, so it does look very American. Then, of course, we've got a Lotus Elise. I've never driven one of these, you know. It's an S1. A few years ago, you could pick these up for 10 or 12 grand, and now they've doubled in price. Just forget how basic they are and how small they are. There is nothing to that at all. Did you ever watch At Home with the Braithwaites? One of the characters on that had a yellow one. Let's head outside then, there's even a dedicated Land Rover section. Oh, Bentley Arnage. Oh, it's a Mulliner as well. That is exactly what I'd have. It's a facelift. So it's got the twin headlamps. And it's in that grey colour. I love that. Wow, the weight of that door is unbelievable. Should we sit inside? This is the coolest thing. It's kind of still modern, but it's very, very old-fashioned. I love that. Yeah, beautiful. I just think they're great value for money. You can pick up them, I guess that's probably, I don't know the mileage, but I'm guessing it's probably 25 grand's worth, something like that. Then over here, we've got a VW Scirocco. So 1988 VW Scirocco. And it looks very tidy, actually. It's just one of those cars that you rarely see these days. And there's no reserve on that one either. Yeah, very cool. Do you want to look at the Land Rovers then? Oh, actually, before we do that, Jaguar XK. That one's the 4.2, non-supercharged, because it doesn't have the vented vents in the bonnet. That's a shame. There's a bit of corrosion there. It always happens, unfortunately. Right, now we're talking my language. We're in the Land Rover area. So over here we've got, this is a Range Rover L322, but it's a Holland and Holland. So in the back it's got the gun cabinet, all that sort of stuff, and it's been tuned by Overfinch. So it is a little bit too pimped for my liking, but it is a genuine Holland and Holland. We've got some Defenders, Series 2. What a nice looking thing that is. So it's a pickup truck, but it's immaculate. It'll be awful to drive. Oh, and then we've got an old Series 1. It's like something off Heartbeat. It's unbelievable that caught on, really. Oh, P38. Here we go. Now that, I think it's either Bonetti grey or Stornoway grey, but it's a Westminster, so in 2002 they released the L322, so that was the last production year of the P38. And I just think they look really cool, these. It's automatic. You could have bought the early ones, the 2.5 litre diesel, with a manual gearbox as well. It's a really cool Range Rover, that. Sounds like a Citroen. I haven't been in one of these for years. It's amazing how much smaller it feels than an L405. But no, very nice. Oh, this one looks quite clean. So this one's a 1996 P-Reg Defender 90. It's just a really nice, usable example. It's had some work, I imagine. It's had some paint work, but it just looks really tidy. Right, now then we're going to head over to the other tent, which is kind of the restoration tent. There's some genuine barn finds in there. But before we do, have a look at these two Mercs. So there's an SL, a US import, because it's got those, they're horrible to be honest, those longer bumpers. it was a US regulation thing, but if I were to buy that, which I would like to buy, to be fair, because I love that era of SL, I'd have to get some Euro spec bumpers. Then over here we've got, now this is a Japanese import, even though it's left-hand drive. It's something to do with the car culture in Japan. If you have a left-hand drive car in Japan, they're a bit more sought after for some reason. And this one, although many people might just dismiss it as being a standard 124, it actually isn't. It's an E500, and they were built under license by Porsche. So it's got a 5-litre V8 which produces 330 horsepower, I think, off the top of my head. Slightly wider arches, and it still looks like a fairly modern car, and nobody knows what it is. I think that's the cool thing about it. And they're worth an awful lot of money. It's not mint, that one, to be honest. I've just seen a few little imperfections, but it's got an estimated value between 25 and 30 grand. I think it comes with a plate too. Just a really cool thing, that. And I don't think I've ever seen one before. You notice the passenger side mirrors different to the driver's side. They only have one wiper, and it's shorter and dumpier. Right, let's head into the tent then. So we'll start off then with the Volvo P1800, made famous by Roger Moore in The Saint. Now I didn't realise, but this one was actually built in Sweden. But a lot of them, especially the early ones, were built under licence by Jensen in the UK. That one has been used as a rally car, as you can see with the tape. But they're a cool looking car. I always loved the shape of those, the fins on the back in particular. There we've got a 1974 Stag, a 1975 TR6. And right here we've got a 1984 Sierra XR4. A little bit before my time, to be fair, but I still understand the significance. And you've got the spoiler on the back like the RS. Very cool, that. And then next to it is another Ford, which looks immaculate. That's a 1950 Ford V8 Pilot. I think Ford were one of the first companies to mass produce the V8, so that's got a flathead V8. 3.6 litre flathead. You just can't imagine cars being like that, can you? Very cool. Let me show you a couple of my personal favourites then. We've got a 5.3 litre XJR there. Now, this C-Class Mercedes might not look all that remarkable. It's a 1999 C220 CDI Sport, which you'll see in your local Tesco car park, but this one's only done 5,000 miles from new, and it's absolutely pristine. It even smells like a new car. 5,700 miles. The trouble is, I always think with stuff like that, I don't know what you do with it because the mileage is so low, you almost daren't use it. Over here, this has immediately caught my eye. This is an E38. I was worried they might have one of these here. And this one isn't any old E38, it's a 750. So it used a 5.4 litre V12, the same as you'd get in a Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph. I'd love this. They used a similar car in the first Transporter movie, only that was a manual. They used one in Tomorrow Never Dies, the James Bond film. It's just an iconic 90s car. And this one, I think it's only had 2 owners from new. It was a BMW management car, and then it's had 1 private owner since. I just love this era of BMW. We even got the old telephone. How 90s is that? And although this is an old car now, it's 25, 26 years old, it still has everything on it. I've still got electric seats, heated seats, an electric steering column. It still feels like a modern car. Right, enough of that before I end up buying it. That I just think is really cool. It's my era, and I've just always fancied one. You know, I don't often come to car auctions like this, but perhaps I should make more of an effort to come to some more. I'll show you these Jaguars then. Now this, I thought, Like I say, I'm not an expert of this era. I thought this was a Mark II, but it's actually an S-Type. Now, I don't know much about these. It's a 3.8 litre 4-speed manual. It looks lovely. I think it must be slightly smaller than the Mark II. Yeah, nice car though. I have seen a Mark II somewhere. I think we might have passed that. Right, let's head inside then. Now we're inside. I haven't been here since I was a kid. Really nice old building. Over here we've got the Facel Vega. They're still setting up, so excuse the noise. But this one's been in a barn in North Wales since 1976. I didn't know anything about the Facel Vega, but it's a French company. And they were ultra luxurious. It's thought to be one of only 98 UK supplied cars. Under the bonnet is a 6.3 litre Chrysler V8. Look at the finish on the bonnet. You can see it almost looks like it's been riveted. When I first saw it, I thought it was an American car because of this wraparound windscreen and the fins at the back. It is kind of an American design of that era. It needs an awful lot of work, but with the right work, that'd be worth triple or quadruple that price, I imagine. Then over here, we've got a 2.8 litre Ford Capri. Now this one I think is the special model. So it's a 2.8 litre. It's got the RS style wheels. On this one you've got the Recaro seats, for example. And I don't think, again this is before my time really, but I think the Capri only ran for another couple of model years after this. It's a really nice example actually. And that I can imagine with a 2.8 litre engine will be a bit of a handful. Modern cars just don't feel like that. It looks very tidy. Then over here we've got a Ford Lotus Cortina, 1967. So that's a Mark II Cortina. I think the Mark I Lotus Cortinas, well, they're worth an awful lot more. But that's a lovely thing. Twin cam, that was some car in its day, I imagine. I've just spotted an E-Type, so let's go and have a look at this. This I think is a Series 2 E-Type. You can tell the difference between a Series 1 and a Series 2 or 3 because on the Series 1s, or the Mark 1s, the lights were up here above the bumper. And on the later ones like this, they're below. Bit of a nerdy fact there for you. 4.2 hardtop, but it's got this sort of vinyl top, which I guess opens up. I didn't even know that was a thing. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, we did.
They're a really narrow car, the E-Type. You forget until you see one in person. And I always imagine the bonnet being an awful lot longer. In reality, it's no different from a modern XK, really. That's TR6. So we've got a Triumph TR6 there, 1973. That's lovely. I love the colour of it. Forgive me, I don't know an awful lot about these. All I can tell you is that it's in nice condition. Over here we've got a 1994 Mini. Is it a genuine? So it's a Mini Cooper Monte Carlo, 1994. They're tiny, aren't they? I'm quite embarrassed to say I've never actually driven an original Mini like this. Should hang my head in shame. Have a look in. It's almost like being in a Land Rover Defender. You've got no elbow room at all. But the rest of it, there's actually a bit more room than I thought. I need to get a video done on one of these. Get it on the channel. How do you get out? Not that. Ah. Apart from the 750 BMW, this is probably my favourite car that I've seen here so far. It's this original Corvette Stingray, 1963, and it's beautiful. It's quite a rare thing in that it's manual, 4-speed manual rather than automatic. Can you imagine driving that in the 60s? It must have looked like you'd landed from outer space. It's a beautiful car, that. Lovely. Over here then we've got a 1959 Austin Healey frog-eyed Sprite. When you think this was from the same sort of era as that Corvette, look at the size difference. It's tiny. Oh, this is unusual. This is a 1936 Standard Avon. And it's a really rare car that I don't think I've ever seen one, ever. 1936, it's the same age as my grandmother. Oh, that's the fuel tank, isn't it there? Should take a seat. Oh. Yeah, this isn't the most comfortable car I've ever been in, I'll be honest. What amazes me is the price estimate on something like that. Something that's nearly 100 years old. It might only be worth 15, 20 grand. It's crazy, really. Then over here, this is an unusual one. This is from a brand that I'd never heard of before. I didn't even know it existed. It's a Canadian brand called McLaughlin. Now again, it's right-hand drive. Now I didn't know. I'm not an ignorant person. I'm quite sort of clued up with history, but I didn't realise that they were making right-hand drive cars in this era in Canada. But I've never seen one before. Just have a look at the interior on this. Quite often on stuff like this, your rear seats would be here, so you'd pop out this little bit here, and that would be the backrest for your seats. So that's a 1926 Buick Standard 6, and it's got an estimate of between 18 and 22 grand. How is it only worth that much money? There's such a vast array of cars here, there really is something for everybody, really. Let's go look at the Rolls Royces. Now that looks to me, I could be wrong here, but just like the one that Yorick Goldfinger drove in the 1964 Bond film. And I can't believe how cheap these are. When you consider how much car you get for the money, it's like it's got an estimate of between 34 and 38 grand. Look at that. Coachwork by Barker. 66 South Audley Street, London. Oh, that's really comfortable, actually. I could get used to this. Look at the handles and everything. The smell and everything, it feels like I'm in a museum. Oh, and they're pop-up seats then, are they? Oh, look at that. We've got additional seats here. You really appreciate the craftsmanship because everything's heavy and solid. So this is a 1937 Rolls-Royce Hooper limousine. So I guess Hooper's the coach builder. I might be wrong there with that statement, but I would surmise that's it. There we go. I'm a genius. Hooper & Co. Coach Builders, London. All of these were hand-built. There's almost no room in there at all, you know. You can't even get past the, I guess that's the handbrake, I'm not sure. I wouldn't even know how to drive one of those. Over here then, with the Spirit of Ecstasy facing the wrong way, we've got a 1929 Rolls-Royce Sedanca DeVille. Now this is 20 horsepower, which you just can't get your head around, can you? This, I guess, is from an era when you probably would have had a chauffeur, but I guess you could have done some of the driving yourself. Then over here, this is a much later car. It's enormous. That is a 1949 Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith, Park Ward. This is a bit more modern. Oh, that, you need to have a seat in this. This is the most comfortable car I've ever sat in. And I think you've got a footrest. You place your feet down there. What's this thing? Oh wow, look at that. Why do I really want one of these? Can't imagine doing my commute in it. But that carpet is so thick. You really appreciate the craftsmanship gone into this. You've got little mirrors here too. Very cool. And then behind you there is I think that's the Mark II. Outside we've already seen the S-Type. So I think this is the Mark II. Yes, so it's a 1967 Jaguar Mark II. Now that's got a much higher estimate on than the S-Type. And unless you park them side by side, I personally couldn't tell the difference. Oh, it's automatic as well. In fairness, that's in much nicer shape, I think, than the S-Type. Over here, these two are quite unusual. So this one here, I think it's kind of like a kit car. So it's got Jaguar engine and suspension setups. It's a 1978 Cougar Sport Jaguar. It's an interesting thing. And then over here, this one, I don't know what the donor vehicle was, but it's an A-Reg. But it looks like, without that reg, I wouldn't know the difference. It looks like a Jaguar SS. So it's a 2011, or parts of it 2011, Suffolk SS 100. That's beautiful, isn't it? That, I think, is crying out for a black and white reg. If you put some sort of dateless plate on that, nobody would ever know. Well, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the tour. If you like this kind of video, then let me know below in the comments and I'll try and do more of them. Don't forget to check out H&H, which is www.hnh.co.uk. The auction starts at 1 PM on Wednesday. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. And yeah, cheers guys. See you next time.